Hi, my name is Lane Happy, and I did my oral presentation over the country of Mexico. If you want to experience one of the more rich and complex cultures, then look no further than the country of Mexico. Mexican culture is one that is influenced by their family ties, gender, religion, location, and social class, among other factors. In its roots, Mexico became a crossroad for people and cultures of Europe, Asia, and Africa. The government of independent Mexico then actively promoted shared cultural traits in order to create its national identity. The culture of Mexico is one of great history, tradition, and values. We will first start off talking about languages. Now, there are tons of languages that are native to the country of Mexico, and although they have plenty of languages in Mexico, it is the most Spanish-speaking country in the world. And then, even though they are the most Spanish-speaking country in the world, they do not have an official language at the federal level. According to moveonthenet.eu, their government recognizes 62 indigenous Amerindian languages as national languages. And there are some indigenous Mexican words that have become common in other languages. These words consist of chocolate, coyote, tomato, and avocado. Next, we'll be talking about religion. Much of Mexican culture revolves around religious values and the church, as well as the concept of family and inclusiveness. According to CIA.gov, 95.6% of the population were Christian, 89% being from Roman Catholic. 47% of this are people who attend church services weekly. Mexico also has the world's largest number of Catholics after the country of Brazil. Christian denominations represented in Mexico include Presbyterians, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons, Lutherans, Methodists, Baptists, and Anglicans. There are also small communities of Muslims, Jews, and Buddhists. Next, we have values. Family is one of the more important elements in the Mexican society. Families tend to be large, and they are conscious of their responsibilities to immediate family members and extended family members such as cousins and close friends. A large part of Mexican life is hosting parties at their home and making visitors feel comfortable. This is a large part of the values and customs of the country. There is a strong connection among family members. Parents are treated with a high degree of respect, and family life tends to revolve around frequent rituals, ceremonies, and celebrations. A large event in a Mexican family is a quinceañera. This celebrates a young lady's 15th birthday, and it signifies her journey from childhood to womanhood. And at these parties they so frequently they have food. Mexican food is known for its blending of indigenous and European cultures. Traditional main Mexican ingredients consist of maize, beans, red and white meats, potatoes, tomatoes, seafood, chili pepper, squash, nuts, avocados, and various herbs native to Mexico. Popular Mexican dishes include tacos, enchiladas, tamales, and burritos. In Mexico, alcohol is a huge part of their beverages. Alcoholic beverages would include Mexican beer such as Corona or Modelo. Mexico is also very well known for their tequila. Frequently used spices in Mexico consist of chili powder, cumin, oregano, cilantro, epazoto, cinnamon, and coca. Next, we have Mexican arts. Mexico is known for its folk art traditions, mostly derived from indigenous and Spanish crafts. Some common items associated with Mexican folk art are clay pottery, embroidered cotton garments, wool shawls, and then outer garments with angular designs. Also, colorful baskets and rugs. According to Mexico For You, the country is closely associated with the mariachi style of folk music. Now, mariachi music involves a group of musicians playing violins, guitars, basses, vihuelas, and trumpets while wearing silver-studded charro suits and elaborate hats. Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo are two of Mexico's most famous artists. Their paintings include vibrant colors and depictions of their life in Mexico. Now moving on to clothing. Mexico may not be thought of as a place of high fashion, but they have fashion designers such as Jorge Duque and Julia Renata that hail from Mexico. In Mexican cities, fashion is influenced by international trends. So typical urban Mexicans will dress very similar to Americans or Europeans. Now, traditional Mexican women clothing includes sleeveless tunic-like dresses called the huipil, and these cotton dresses originally were made very simple with garnishes of color. Nowadays, they include images and patterns that have symbolic meaning to them. Traditional men's clothing includes a large blanket cape called a serape, and boots are also a huge staple in traditional men's clothing. The charro suit is the most associated with mariachi musicians, like I listed beforehand. Now moving on to holidays. Some of the bigger holidays in Mexican culture is Independence Day, which is celebrated on September 16th. This marks the country's separation from Spain in 1810. Then there is Cinco de Mayo, which marks a Mexican military victory over the French in 1862. There is also a holiday called the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. This is celebrated on November 2nd, and according to the University of New Mexico, this holiday is set aside to remember and honor those who have died. Then there is the holiday of the Feast of Our Lady Guadalupe. This is celebrated on December 12th. It is a major Mexican holiday celebrating the appearance of Virgin Mary to an Indian man in the first couple years of the Spanish rule. After this holiday, it is followed by Posadas, which is a 9-day celebration where people reenact Mary and Joseph's journey to Bethlehem. In conclusion, the culture of Mexico is one of great history, tradition, and values. Mexican's culture is one that consists of shared cultural traits. These shared cultural traits is what ended up being used to create its national identity. Mexico's history plays a huge part into almost every aspect of its culture and will continue to do so for many years to come. Mexico is truly one of the better and more interesting cultures to learn about. Thank you.